Hey everybody, you're watching CAD Roll Hunter, and we're back with Pennies for part of our album fill series. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel CAD Roll Hunter, and we have our beautiful Lighthouse Vista penny album that we have started filling. We've got some pennies here. I got a bunch of rolls. I got 20 rolls. I don't usually like to do more than that because there's so many cool things to find in pennies. And we're really just starting this album fill series. We've had 2 hunts, but the first one is a bit of a false start because we had some really dirty pennies. But we got some early ones in our last time. In 1937, that's a first year King George VI. We got a bunch of stuff in here. We decided to only put pretty nice examples, particularly in the modern years. So we're doing well already. We have 57 of 131 spots in this album, and including some of the varieties that we can find that weren't actually accounted for in this album. So we're all set up and ready to go, and I'm pretty interested to see what's going to come of this because there are several rolls in here that are marked USA. So I've got my Charlton guide here, which is going to be really helpful, but I've also got my official red book of United States coins, and that's going to be very helpful if we find anything cool in the American sense. I'm not quite as versed in US pennies and what we might find. Of course, if we find any wheat cents, that would be cool. So I just grabbed the first roll out of here, laid it down, and found, of course, that there are a whole whack of US pennies in this one. It wasn't marked or anything. It was just one of these clear plastic rolls, but it looks like we're going to have a whole bunch of US, and like there's a pretty nice shiny 1990 Denver, so I'll check to see if any of these might upgrade my collection. And then there's some older copper stuff too. There is a 1982 Denver. That's a large date. And it has the look of copper. I'll weigh all these 82s up just to be sure, because we're going to want to set aside all of the copper. But that red book might get a bit of a workout in this hunt after all, because when I look at this set of rolls here, there's some US enders on here as well. So it's not uncommon for people to roll up American cents and take them to the bank here. They often just circulate along with the Canadians. So we got a bunch here. I'm probably about a third of the way through that roll, and I was just about to bring you in to say, hey, we got a Canadian, but right behind it, and we'll just check that one. It's a 1998. We have a wheat cent, so that's pretty awesome. I love finding wheat cents here in Canada. This one is a 1952 Denver. Same roll, and we're already going to have our second wheat penny in this roll that is almost all American pennies. Very cool. This one is a 1952 Denver. I just laid out roll number 2, and it looks like it's going to be all American again. So it's not going to really help our Canadian cent album fill, but it is going to be cool looking through this, and it looks like this might have a lot of copper. There's a 71 at the front, and there's not a lot of shiny edges. Everything looked pretty coppery to me. Well, I guess we'll never know until we look through these. So far, everything is copper. Everything is older Americans. No wheat cents at all yet. And here's a 1974 that looks like it's in pretty nice condition. And so I'll have to keep my eyes peeled. A lot of them have turned brown, but they're mostly have good details. So that's pretty cool. Same roll, there's our first San Francisco minted penny, or cent, if you will. It's a 1972. And again, the fields look pretty good. We've got a few little marks from maybe contact or something, but this has lots of detail. This appears to be a pretty uncirculated cent. A little further back, and we've got another estimated coin. It's a 1969. It does not appear to have any of the doubling that we might find on the date here, which would have been super incredible. But I don't think I've got a 1969S, so that's really cool. All right, partway through this roll, and we're going to have a wheat cent, and it looks pretty slick, and it could be really old. So let's take a peek. Yeah, that looks pretty worn. It is a 1940. That's pretty cool. I think that's a common date, though, and it's obviously been around. Very awesome. And I didn't notice it right away, but the very next coin is also a wheat cent, a 1957 Philadelphia. Again, with pretty good detail. Still going on roll number 2, and there is another 40s wheat cent, 1942 Philadelphia. That's going to bring 5 wheat cents in these 2 rolls, which is just crazy. And there's a pretty nice looking copper cent. Look at that, 1973. Still got lots of red and great detail. That looks pretty mid-state to me. Same roll and another Wheatie, 1944. Awesome. And we're still going. Here is another one. It's got a little bit of corrosion on the back, but let's flip it over to see what it is. That's a 1953 Denver. I pulled out a roll that had Canadian enders because I thought we really want to see if we can find something for the album. And wouldn't you know it, the third coin in is another wheat set from the States. It's a 1957 Denver. But if I look behind it, there's still a lot of Canadians in here, but that's just really crazy. 1957 Denver, another wheat cent in here. So roll number 3 is going to give us our first laureate portrait. It's a 1964. There we go. Pretty brown circulated condition, but right behind there is something pretty shiny. Again, one little spot of corrosion. This one is a 1976. So we might find, if we find a few like this in here, something that might upgrade the album. Even if it's not perfect, it might be better than what we've got. Still in that roll, there's another one, 1942. I think that's our second 1942 Philadelphia. Towards the end of that roll, it's our second laureate portrait. It's a 1960. The very next coin is going to keep us on the board. There's a 1963 laureate portrait. Well, here's the very first coin in roll number 4, and I think we have stumbled into some pretty cool rolls here. If what we've got is any indication, we've got a whole whack of wheat cents. We're starting to get some early Canadians. We've got another one here. You never know what you're going to find in Canadian pennies because they're not making them anymore and they're not circulating. By definition, any pennies that come into the bank have probably been sitting somewhere for 10, 20, 30 years. Like, people are bringing back their piggy banks and collections and coin jars, wrapping them up and taking them to the bank. Or sometimes what happens is somebody is cashing in someone's collection and getting a penny for each of these. But so that's why we can find really cool things in pennies. It looks like this is going to be a whole lot more copper again. I don't see, there are a few bright edges, but I have a feeling just what we're finding. Yeah, so there's that one in the 70s. So we're going to find some good coins for the album. I'm pretty sure about it. These are exciting rolls. These are the kinds of rolls you want to find. And I forgot to even look at that first coin. It's going to be another 1964. Well, we are going to find some upgraders. There's a pretty nice looking 1978, and I've just got the album over here up on the stand so I can take a peek and see. And we've got a 78 that's got a lot of brown on it, just had a hint of red. This one here has a whole lot of red. That's awesome. And speaking of upgraders, there's that 79 we saw. I've actually pulled another one out of here already that looks just almost as good. Same roll, and here's one that looks like it could be another stunner, maybe a couple in a row. Gorgeous 1978, and behind it, another 1978. These might have to be added to my roll of BU coins. Same roll, and there's our first coin from the 50s. It's a 1957. It looks like it's in really nice condition. We're going to check this under the scope and see. A lot of these might have that die clash. The hanging 7 would be on this one. No die clash. We would see a little bit of a line here coming to the 7, and there is one spot on here, but otherwise the coin, for being somewhat brown, has a lot of great detail and doesn't really have any circulation works. Too bad about this one spot here. Still in that roll to roll number 4. What do we got this time? We're going to find a 1963. And here's another one. That one is... oh, it's a 1955, having a little bit of trouble focusing. Sweet, our second in the 50s. Another roll of all U.S. pennies and another wheat penny, a 1946. Just at the end of the roll, there is a pretty grungy looking laureate portrait. Let's take a peek and see. It's our first 1961 with some gunk on it. Roll number 6 gives us a laureate portrait number 7. It's a 1962. There is a variety we want to check on our 1962s. I'll pull this under the scope. We'll take a peek. Here it is under the scope. You can find the hanging variety. I see a little bit of an impression. This could possibly be it with a little die clash there. Hard to tell when they're in really circulated condition. You're not going to see it. But if I look up below the 1, what you're looking for are some lines that are here. And it's either the guitar or harp variety, depending on how many lines and how significant they are. I am seeing one other thing on this coin. It could just be something on the coin itself, but this line looks like there might be some kind of a fault with the planchet. I'll have to take a closer look and see what that actually is. In any case, it's pretty brown, it's pretty circulated, it's not going to be worth much, but same roll, Laureate Portrait number 8, it's a 1961. Same roll, just a couple coins back. We got another one. This one's going to be a 62. Still in that roll, still moving here. What do we got this time? It's another one in the 50s, another 1957. And check out this one. Look at that. Let's see, what do we got going on here? It's a 1978. It was so shiny, the camera didn't even know how to focus in on it. Awesome. Roll number 8 has been mostly Americans with a few Canadians sprinkled in, and we are going to find another wheat cent. What is it going to be this time? A 1941, our first from that year. This is wicked. Roll 10 is going to give us another wheat cent. Is it going to be an old one maybe? No, it is not. It's going to be a 1955. I suppose we want to check that for any kind of doubling. Well, it wasn't very likely, but that would have been incredible. It's just a normal 1955 Philadelphia with no doubling on it. You can check all the different parts of the coin here, and it doesn't look like we're going to see that crazy doubling that you could find in a 1955. Okay, so we are halfway through our 20 roll hunt, and it's been really kind of a nutty bit of a hunt here. So there's lots of copper. I've separated out some of these American coins from the 60s and 70s and into 80 copper cents that might be better than my album. You'll see these ones here are mostly brown with a bit of red. My collection has a lot of brown circulated cents. A lot of these are maybe AU or close to uncirculated, but have some toning or started to change color, but probably a lot of them will upgrade in mine. And then we've got some zinc cents that are in pretty good condition, and then into our wheat cents. And we have a whole bunch from the 40s and the 50s so far. That's been really cool. And then our Laureate Portrait finds and some shinier examples of Canadian coins that might upgrade a spot in the album. That's pretty much where we are. I'm holding back anything that looks like it might upgrade. But interesting, we got a few more rolls in here, I think, that are marked USA. And so I'm hoping we'll find some Canadian cents for the album. It would be great to find a King George VI or a 5th. That would be incredible. But it looks like we're finding interesting things, so I'm not going to complain at all. So roll number 10 is one of those rolls marked USA, and it's not going to disappoint. It looks like we're going to get more of the same. Here is our first wheat cent from that roll. This one is a 1951. Very cool. Same roll, found a pretty shiny 1975 D I'm going to set aside. But right behind that is another Wheatie. It looks like it's even got a little bit of luster on it. This could be from the late 50s, perhaps. And it's a 58D, and that makes a lot of sense. Really cool. A little further back, it's not slowing down. There is another one. Let's see what this one is. This is another 1944. And we got another from the 50s. Check it out, 1950 Philadelphia. Towards the back, there's another one, and this one does look pretty slick. Could we possibly have one pre-40s? 1940 is the oldest one we've got so far. And it is, I can't even quite make that out. We're going to have to scope that one. Check it out, a Teens Wheat Cent, 1918. It's a common one, and it's in pretty circulated condition. But wow, I've never found so many wheat cents in a hunt here in Canada, and I don't know what to say about that. That's just really crazy. But like I said earlier, you just never know what people are going to roll up and bring to the bank. And because pennies don't circulate, it's not like we've got just rolls of all new coins sitting around. It's just people's collections or whatever that's being dumped in. But there's a Teens Wheat Cent, 1918. That's awesome. I just pulled out roll 12 and I saw something that I think we're going to like. And it's a King George VI Ender. So hopefully there's some friends in here, some oldies like that would be awesome, because our album definitely needs some oldies. So I laid that out. Our end is a 1964, our other end. We'll have to look to see what the King George is, but it's not going to be a whole bunch of oldies like I had thought. Looks like we're going to have a lot of copper, but definitely some 80s with those 12-sided edges. So there's our George Ender. Let's see what it's going to be. That's a 1951, and I don't think we have that one for the album, so that's going to be an addition. That is awesome. But you can see a pretty shiny zinc penny, a 1997 there. So not all old. Roll number 13 is going to give us another 1962 laureate portrait, and right behind it, a pretty shiny 1980. We'll set that aside. That could be an upgrade or a little bit of discoloration, but pretty red. A few coins back, another laureate portrait. This one from 1964, a very common year. And another Wheatie. Let's see what we got this time. Oh, it hits an oldie one, an older one too, 1937. Wow, so we've got a 1918 and now something from the 30s and a whole bunch from the 40s and 50s. Simply incredible. So we're 7 rolls to go, and we've got about as far as we're going to get upgrading the album because all of the rolls that we have left here say USA on them. So I guess the only question is, how many more wheat cents could we possibly find in 7 rolls of pennies? We've already found a whole whack of them. At least, I'm going to say 15 or so, and a couple of oldies. Could we possibly get some more oldies in these rolls? That's incredible. Just getting into roll number 14, and it looks like we're going to have a really nice copper cent here. Let's take a peek and see. And that is a gorgeous 1979. That's going to upgrade my collection a little further back. And here's another one, a 1974 Denver. Beautiful. And that didn't take long, just a little bit further back. And we've got a Wheatie. What's it going to be? 2 back to back. There's a 1957 Denver. And then this one here is a 1957 Philadelphia. And there's another oldie, a 1940. I think that's our second 1940. Just at the end of that roll, another one, a 1950D. This is our 23rd wheat cent, smashing any record I might have ever had. Roll 15, and something that is becoming a very familiar sight here. This is another 1946 Philadelphia. And just 2 coins later, and I can see another one back here too. So let's see what we got here. Another 1950 Denver, and then just back here we see those wheat ears. And this one is a 54 San Francisco. Very cool. Still in that roll. What do we got this time? There's a bright shiny one behind there. 52 Denver. We may as well take a closer look at this one here. 72 Denver. A couple little spots on it though. Just a few coins back. This one is going to be another 57 Denver. Now here's one that looks really odd. It's a wheat penny, but it looks like somebody has chopped off the edges. It's a 47 Denver that I don't think this is a mint error. It looks like somebody has actually done something to it. I'm going to weigh it up and just see what this weighs at. It should be about 3.1. We'll throw it on there. 2.66, so very light. A bunch of copper has come off of there, but I don't think it's on a wrong planchet or anything. The edges look too rough for that. And another one. I've completely lost count here. This is just crazy. And it's another oldie. That looks to be a 34. We'll just scope it just to verify. And there it is, a 34. And that's a common date, over 219 million, close to that. But an uncommon find here in Canada, absolutely. Roll number 16 is going to start with a bang because here is our ender, and it's another wheat penny. This one is going to be a 51. Just a bit behind it, a 1953 Denver. There's a strong possibility, as I'm thinking about it, we might get a string of every year in the 40s and 50s. Maybe not every single mint mark, but we'll get a lot of the Philadelphia and Denver just by looking at what we've got so far. Same roll. What's this one going to be? Oh, and it's going to be back to back. We've got a 54 Denver, and then we're going to have and that's a 1944. And we're going to get another 50s San Francisco minted cent, 1951. And the very last coin of that roll is a 1945. So we had enders on both ends of this roll. Awesome. Roll 17 is also going to start with a bang. There's another 1950 Denver. That's cool. And right behind it, there is going to be a 1952 Philadelphia. And just as I shut that camera off, I could see the outline of the wheat stalk, and I think there's two in a row here too. And there are. It's a 56 Denver, and this one looks like it could be older. We'll have to see. No, just a 52 Denver. Still going, 1944. And directly behind that one, something that's got some pretty significant toning. That looks to be a 45. I'm going to have to put it under the scope just to be sure. It's got some issues. Very definitely a 1945 with some serious environmental issues. I got a 1970S I just pulled out of that roll, and this is the common large date 1970S, and it's also known as the low 7. This 7 is a little bit lower than the 0. If we had the small date with the high 7, that would be a much more valuable coin, but still a cool variety to look for. Still in roll 17 and another 1945 in this roll. Same roll, another Wheatie, this time a 1952 Philadelphia. First glimpse of roll number 18, and it's going to have a Wheatie ender. Things are not slowing down. Roll number 18 is going to start us off with a bang too. Check this out. We got another Wheatie. This one is a 1954 Denver. Same roll, here we go again, a 1953 Denver. Here's another one that just slid down to get our attention. What's it going to be? This time it's a 1941. And another one to add to our hugely growing pile here. A 1957 Denver. And the very last coin of roll number 18 was another Wheatie 1951 Denver. Roll 19 is going to give us a teens wheat cent, a 1919 by coincidence, and it looks like it might have a mint mark on it. I'll check it out. So I don't really know what it is that we've stumbled upon. If somebody just cashed in a collection, and it is kind of strange that all of these wheat cents are mixed in with 1960s and 1970s wheat cents as well. It's just very strange. I don't know if it's just all copper. We got some zinc, but in earlier rolls. But let's take a look at this guy here. Wow, so that is a 1919 Denver for sure, and it's got a lot of detail. That's still in pretty great condition for a 104-year-old penny. Incredible. And the third coin in on that is going to be another wheat cent. I suppose we shouldn't really be surprised. That's a 56 Denver. A little further back, another one. It's a 1942. Wow. And right behind it is a 58 Philly. Little further back, a 56 Denver, and it looks like, yeah, a 1948 Philadelphia right behind it. Things even seem to be heating up. And then we've got just some kind of trash 60s penny. It's just really odd. And more from the 40s, a 1946 Philly. Here's a little something, a little interesting find. I threw this 1972 under the scope looking for any of the double die obverses, but check this out. It's a little bit of a minor cud on the end. A part of the die might have chipped off, so we've got excess metal here. It's, of course, more dramatic if it comes into the field and covers the devices, but I'll probably keep that one because that's just interesting. I don't find a lot of those types of die varieties in my Canadian coins. I know this is really minor, but it's just a cool little find. Here is a really nice 1977. I'll be keeping that one for sure. And right behind it, as we've been seeing all day, another one. This one's a 57 Denver. Very last roll of this 20 roll hunt. It's been awesome. Are we going to end with a bang or a whimper? I really don't have any reason to believe there won't be 4 or 5 more Wheaties in here because that's the way these rolls have been going. Well, we're about 5 coins in, and there is a really, really slick wheat penny. Is this going to be an oldie as well? That looks like it could be as old as any of them so far. And I can't tell. There's a mint mark. I'm going to have to scope this one to see what I can make out on this one. Well, there it is. It's a 1920 something. I can't tell if that's a 3 or an 8. It just is a little bit too obscured. There's a mint mark. It's really hard to tell. It could be a D or it could be an S. It's actually almost easier to see the detail like this without the scope. It could be a 22D. If that's the case, it would be a key date. I don't know. It could be a 20. Let me know what you think. You've seen it under the scope. You've seen it in hand. What do you think that is? Let me know. Still going strong. Oh, it's another oldie, a 1936 Philadelphia. Awesome. 3 coins back. This one's got more detail. It's probably newer. And it is. It's a 57 Denver. And check out this blazer. 1974 Philadelphia. It looks like it could have just rolled off the production line right now. And right behind it, there's another Wheatie. And another one from the 30s, a 1939. Just the end of that roll, and I think we're going to end with a bang. We can see one more Wheatie, and then we've got this another blazer here. Let's see what that is. That is a 78 Denver, just a gorgeous copper cent. And then another Wheatie back here, a 1945. And we'll just take a peek and see if we've got any more 1970 Denver. No. Wow, I'm going to have to sort all this stuff out. We've got crazy, crazy finds here and tons of wheat pennies. I think I'm going to have to put those in order so we can see everything that we've got and tons of copper. So let me just organize things and I'll be right back. All I can say is, wow, what a crazy hunt. What was supposed to be a video in my Canadian Cent album fill turned into be something completely different. We got over 10 full rolls of US copper in a 20 roll hunt. Most of the stuff we got was American. This is what I wish I had, a really nice US penny album. This could have been a dedicated US penny hunt, and I didn't look closely enough at how many of those rolls actually just said USA. And we got tons of United States wheat pennies. We got 63 in total. It's just remarkable in rolls here in Canada. We got more in one 20 roll hunt than most folks would get in coin roll hunting, a whole box or multiple boxes in the States. It's incredible. Obviously, somebody took a collection and brought their coins into the bank, and I benefited from that. So that's really wicked. That's what you hope to find. But I figure we'll go through the wheat cents. We got 50 P and D, 51 P, D, and S, 52 P and D, 53 D, 54 D, 55 P, 56 D, 57 P and D, and 58 P and D. That's the last year. In the 40s, most of them were Philadelphia. We got 40, 41, 42, no Steelies, 44, 45, 46, a trimmed down 47 Denver, the only Denver minted 40s penny that we got, and it's somebody's carved the edge off, and a 48 Philly, no 49s. And then in the older stuff, we got a string in the 30s. We got 34, 36, 37, and 39. We got a 20s. We can't quite make out what that is. It's a 1920 something and it has a mint mark. And then we got some teens. We got a 1918 and a 1919 Denver, which is simply incredible. Beyond that, we got a whole bunch of US copper cents from the 60s and 70s. Any one of these might upgrade in my album. They're mostly uncirculated and some have some red on them. There are a few blazers in there. I'm going to look through and update my own collection. I'll come back and we'll look at the Canadian stuff, which is what I thought we were looking for. If you are still with me after what's been a pretty long hunt, I really appreciate it. That's great. You've shown some real dedication to looking at this trove of wheat cents and other goodies. It's been longer for me, though, than it has been for you because I scoped every single one of those coins to see if I could find any varieties, double dies, planchet errors, any kind of die varieties. I've got under the scope here a 1969D showing the Lincoln Memorial, and particularly we're looking at the roof. This is what the roof is supposed to look like. It's clearly attached, but there is a variety called the floating roof I was looking for, and I found a few that might qualify. I'd love it if you weighed in and let me know. Are these considered floating roof? I'm not even sure if they're particularly valuable. I found 3 in this trove, so I don't think they're all that uncommon, but we'll take a look at them. Here is the first one. And so you can see here, there's like a tiny little bit of detail there. And maybe that doesn't quite qualify. Maybe it has to be even more pronounced than that. So we'll look at the next one. This one here, well, I can see a little bit of a line on the right, but it's less obvious on this side. Maybe that doesn't qualify either. And our last chance is this one here. It's just got like a little spot there. I don't know if any of these would really qualify, but they're pretty close. The other thing we'd look for is how weak the FG is. I think on those strikes, it's probably a weak strike what it is. The FG isn't as apparent. If I look at all of these, you can see they're all weaker, but they're definitely there. So maybe those don't qualify, but that's the kind of thing that I was looking for in these pennies to see if we could find anything at all, but it took me a long time to do that. In terms of Canadian finds, it was a pretty average hunt. We did find a King George VI, which is always great. There's a 1951 there. And we got in the laureate portraits of 55, a couple of 57, some 61, 62, 63s, and 64s, all in brown circulated condition. And that would be a total of, oh goodness, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 laureate portraits in that hunt. Not bad. That would be great in any 20 roll hunt, but we didn't have 20 rolls to work with Canadian coins. What we're going to do is check the album and see if any of these will go in. And I did set aside some other ones that could potentially fill a spot or upgrade based on the ones we have in the album. I'll be right back and let you know how we did. So I've gone through the album and we have added 5 new coins that we didn't have slotted. We did add that 1951 here, and we added a few others. There was a 1968 that we didn't have anything slotted for. Has just a little bit of red, but I thought we'll add that, fill that spot in. And then some in the 80s, we added an 87 and an 89. And then in the 90s and 95, we just didn't have anything slotted in. Our last hunt didn't give us anything worth putting in there. So we've got some placeholders. And of course, my eye just continues to get drawn to this beautiful cameo here. I believe that was that 1963 from the last one. If we could get all of our spots looking like that, that would be incredible. Well, I hope you enjoyed this penny hunt and album fill with a big trove of bonus US copper. I have already flipped some of these ones up that I don't already have in my album, and I've tubed up the rest in these tubes where I keep my wheat cents and other pennies. And anyway, that was just an incredible, incredible hunt. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, CAD Roll Hunter, please do that now. And you'll be notified when I have new videos coming up. We do videos all the time, coin roll hunting, collection purchases, interesting coin stuff. Hope to see you again next time. Thanks so much for watching. I always appreciate it. The sponsors of today's video are Lighthouse Canada and the Charlton Press. Lighthouse Canada is the leading supplier of high-quality numismatic supplies in Canada, and the Charlton Press is the leading publisher of coin and paper money catalogs and price guides for Canadian collectors. Go check out their online stores today and use the exclusive discount code CRH20 for 20% off all your purchases.